السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Inshallah ta'ala, we'll go through the last three verses in Surah Al-Ma'arij, Surah number 70, from verse 42 to the end, inshallah. So open the Mus'haf and recite after me, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. فذرهم يخوضوا ويلعبوا حتى يلاقوا يومهم الذي يوعدون. يوم يخرجون من الأجداث سراعا كأنهم إلى نصب يوفضون. خاشعة أبصارهم ترهقهم ذلة ذلك اليوم الذي كانوا يوعدون. The last three verses of Surah Al-Ma'arij. فذرهم يخوضوا ويلعبوا حتى يلاقوا يومهم الذي يوعدون. يوم يخرجون من الأجداث بجيم with سكون قلقلة من الأجداث سراعا إخفاء سراعا two counts كأنهم إلى نصب the noon with dhamma and the sad and then the noon after it نصب يوفضون. خاشعة there's tanween after it hamza with no gunna, no tone, and we just say the tanween. Then they have the ba with qalqala because of sukun. خاشعة أبصارهم ترهقهم. Don't stop, of course, but I'm doing that so that you can see the difference in the way it's pronounced. The ta is light and ra is heavy. Ha is light. Qaf is heavy. ترهقهم ذلة. If you stop by ha, and then if you continue إخفاء ذلة ذلك اليوم الذي كانوا يوعدون. Translation: so leave them to converse vainly and amuse themselves until they meet their day which they are promised, the day they will emerge from the graves rapidly as if they were toward an erected idol hastening. Their eyes humbled, humiliation will cover them. That is the day which they had been promised. فَذَرْهُمْ يَخُوضُوا وَيَلْعَبُوا. Leave them. This is after what has been mentioned about the disbelievers when they make mockery of the truth and the Prophet ﷺ and associating partners with Allah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warned them a severe punishment is waiting for them. So then at the end, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving that comfort to the Prophet ﷺ by saying, فَذَرْهُمْ, then leave them. Leave them, it doesn't mean that you don't continue to invite them to the truth. But it's when you severely warn someone, do whatever you want. Let them continue in their batil, in their falsehood, and let them live a life of foolishness and enjoy their worldly life, because what they have been promised is coming. The warning is a real warning for them. If they turn away from it, what can you do to them? And basically, as if the ayah is saying, as Imam al-Qurtubi rahimahullah said, وَاشْتَغِلْ أَنْتَ بِمَا أُمِرْتَ بِهِ. And you be busy with what you have been commanded with. And do not be overtaken by their disbelief and their shirk, because there's a day that they will face and they will meet that day, and what they have been promised, they will see it. And that's what the verse is saying. فَذَرْهُمْ يَخُوضُوا وَيَلْعَبُوا. يَخُوضُوا is when someone is immersed in something. So immersed in batil, in falsehood. They're immersed in it. وَيَلْعَبُوا, and let them play. That's basically what their life is just playing, which is the disbelief and denying the truth. حَتَّى يُلَاقُوا يَوْمًا, till they meet. يُلَاقُوا, till they meet their day that they have been promised. And when you meet someone, that means you set yourself out. You left your home, for example, to meet someone, and that someone also left his home and he's on the way to meet you. This is basically what the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to happen to the people. It's like death also. Death is coming into the direction of each and every one. But the time is not there yet where al-mulaqa, or they both meet each other. And it's going to happen. Nobody is going to be missed. Nobody would live on the face of earth forever. So this is such a severe warning from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the disbelievers, and also to those who live their life overlooking the truth. They don't want to think about the truth. They don't want to take the warnings seriously. They just want to continue to enjoy their life. That they don't want anybody to disturb their fun on the face of earth. So فَذَرْهُمْ يَخُوضُوا وَيَلْعَبُوا, for them to eat and drink. And as Imam al-Sa'di rahimahullah, يَخُوضُوا بِالْأَقْوَالِ الْبَاطِلَةِ, let them be indulged into their false speech and their corrupted beliefs. And let them وَيَلْعَبُوا بِدِينِهِمْ, let them play with their religion, eat and drink and enjoy and have fun. Let them be like this حَتَّى يُلَاقُوا يَوْمَهُمُ الَّذِي يُوعَدُونَ, till they meet the day where they have been promised, which is the severe punishment, the everlasting punishment. So, and also to the believers, don't be deceived by the fact that the disbelievers are playing and enjoying and having so much fun and so on. Don't be fooled by this. زُيِّنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا. The disbelievers, the dunya has been adorned for them. You believe in the promise of Allah. Be patient with the promise of Allah, because it's going to happen. And the everlasting joy is for the believers as a result of them being patient with the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So فَذَرْهُمْ, and that's of course related to the previous verses of how they would make mockery of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam, as mentioned before. فَذَرْهُمْ يَخُوضُوا وَيَلْعَبُوا حَتَّى يُلَاقُوا يَوْمَهُمُ الَّذِي يُوعَدُونَ. On that day, يَوْمَ يَخْرُجُونَ مِنَ الْأَجْدَاثِ سِرَاعًا كَأَنَّهُمْ إِلَى نُصُبٍ يُوفِضُونَ. On the day, يَوْمَ, when they come out of al-ajdath, their graves, سِرَاعًا, in haste. They'll come out, they'll be resurrected from their graves, and it's just giving us how the scene of that is going to be. Being resurrected, given life after death, and they're coming up سِرَاعًا, in haste. كأنهم إلى نصب يوفضون, as if they are going to these nusub, with these idols that they used to worship besides Allah. يوفضون, they're going to it in haste. They haven't, when someone gets up, like say for example, when someone is sleeping and he gets up quickly and he runs towards something, that means there's an objective, there's a goal that he's going to. This is how they are going in haste towards what, basically their punishment. And a nusub also like a flag, like a sign that they seek. They can't go left or right. This is basically they're responding to the call when they are resurrected to go meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to face the punishment of Allah. No way to escape. No way that for them to say, well, let us stay for a little bit. I'll take my time to get up. There's no such a thing. They are rushing to their final destination, which is the worst evil ever, which is for them to be in hellfire forever. Such a terrifying thing that should bring all kinds of means of patience in the hearts. خَاشِعَةً أَبْصَارُهُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes their affairs in the Day of Judgment. خَاشِعَةً أَبْصَارُهُمْ. Their absar, their eyes, خَاشِعَة, humbled, humiliated. They're looking down. They cannot lift it up. They are in state of humiliation. When you imagine someone is being resurrected, given life, and they are going to their everlasting punishment. They would never leave the hellfire. They will be in hellfire forever. What kind of face would that be? خاشعة أبصارهم ترهقهم ذلة. ترهقهم, that means it's covering them. ذلة is covering them. ذلة or humiliation is covering them because of what their hearts have been filled with. The terrifying fear of what's going to happen to them no matter what. And it's all by the justice of Allah. ذلك اليوم الذي كانوا يعدون. This is the day when they used to be promised of it, but they denied it and they disbelieved in it. This is the day. And that's why it will be said to them, هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون. This is Jahannam that used to be promised of. They used to make mockery of it and make fun of those who believe in the hereafter and the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and things like this. This is what then the reality of it, where اصلوها فاصبروا أو لا تصبروا, then it will be said to them, burn in the fire, whether you are patient or not patient. إنما تجزون ما كنتم تعملون. You are being recompensed of what you used to do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most just. Verses that should really have its effect in the hearts. In the effect of it in the hearts is in two things. First of all, a person should have fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and concern towards oneself, that we save ourselves from the punishment of Allah. And that's the most important thing. And the other benefit is not to be deceived by what the disbelievers are upon, or people when they're living a life of sin. Never make yourself or allow the shaitan to whisper to you that these people, they have so much fun. What is for us? Or people, they try to find a middle ground always, and they say that, if the disbelievers are doing this, well, we need to have something like it. So they kind of trying to compromise a little bit, or they would say this is better than nothing because people are this and that, and the youth are seeing how the disbelievers are, or how the people are enjoying the life of the sin. So let them just have, and again, if it's to have a permissible joy, that's nothing wrong with that. But to make it in a sinful way so that they don't feel bad or whatever, this is all signs of weakness in the heart. As we said, if a person is obedient to Allah, and if a person is firm, his heart is firm upon the truth, and relying upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and thinking about the end of things, and that the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the truth. So be patient. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open ways for the hearts of the believers to give them comfort and to give them patience, and they would enjoy the life of steadfastness far more than the evil ones and the disbelievers are enjoying in their false deception of following their desires and their fun in this world. So leave it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of course, we should not forbid what Allah permitted, but don't try to compromise things so at least we are better than others and all of these types of things. But rather seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, and rely upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, and leave the matter to Allah. He's the one that creates happiness and sadness and misery and all of this. So we need to have that strength in our hearts. As we see the words فَذَرْهُمْ, so leave them, as again based on what has been mentioned before, and it comes from the ذال and ra, and it comes from waw ذال ra, actually وذر, and it comes for when someone has something in his hand and he just throw it away because it's not of any significance. This is basically what it is. So leave it, leave it, throw it away, something like this. And it's, of course, in here, it means leave them, right? Not just leave them, but don't have your heart attached to what they're doing. Turn away from this because of what you know, because of the certainty in your heart. That should not affect you or make you feel that, oh, I wish I can have this and that. Just turn away from it and from what they also do of evil. فَذَرْهُمْ يَخُوضُوا يخوض from خاء واو ضاد, and is said immersed in something. And then makhada is the stagnant water that a person would have to walk in it because this is the only way to in front of him, for example. So this is al-khawd. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about the hypocrites when they're asked, they would say, إِنَّمَا كُنَّا نَخُوضُ وَنَلْعَبُ. We just indulge in what people are indulged in and playing, which basically a person would get himself into the dirt physically, and it's basically when it comes to the sins and indulging into haram. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbade the believers to follow the others when they are indulged into evil. وقد نزل عليكم في الكتاب إذا سمعتم آيات الله يكفر فلا تقعدوا معهم حتى يخوضوا في حديث حتى يخوضوا. Yani if people are indulged into haram, kufr, and so on, do not sit with them till they indulge in something else of goodness. ويلعبوا, and play, and they amuse themselves. This is how their life is. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it very clear, وَذَرِ الَّذِينَ, like the same meaning, وَذَرِ الَّذِينَ اتَّخَذُوا دِينَهُمْ لَعِبًا وَلَهْوًا. Leave, or the same word. Those who took their religion as play and mockery. This is how their religion is. Those who, like how the Christians, they took their religion of something of mockery. They don't follow. And anyway, it's been distorted anyway. So don't be like them. Your religion is a strong and a firm belief in all aspects. Do not turn away from it. Right? Do not be in state of ignoring what's in it, following the ways of the disbelievers. Where their life is just about playing. And if a person chooses that, that's and with the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَذَرْهُمْ يَخُوضُوا وَيَلْعَبُوا. And that's which choice that we have to make in this life. Whether a person wants to be patient with the commands of Allah and be with surety that it's not going to make you miss any of the great things in this life, but it's going to be controlled, of course. Or if a person wants to follow his desire, this is the path of the hellfire. فَذَرْهُمْ يَخُوضُوا وَيَلْعَبُوا حَتَّى يُلَاقُوا, till they meet, from lam, qaf, ya. حَتَّى يُلَاقُوا يَوْمَهُمْ, so that day is coming, is already on the way. Their day, الَّذِي, the one that used to be promised, يُوعَدُونَ, from the wa'ada, the promise. And the promise comes in the context of good and evil. أَفَمَنْ وَعَدَنَاهُ وَعْدًا حَسَنًا فَهُوَ لَقِيهِ. The one that we promised him a goodly promise, فَهُوَ لَقِيهِ, like the same word. It means he's going to meet it. He's going to face, he's going to see the promise of Allah. And many verses in the Quran talks about the promise of Allah. إِنَّ وَعْدَ اللَّهِ حَقٍّ. Indeed, the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the haqq, is the truth. So fill your heart with this, because very soon people would see the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then the believers will really enjoy their belief in the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَذَرْهُمْ يَخُوضُوا وَيَلْعَبُوا حَتَّى يُلَاقُوا يَوْمَهُمُ الَّذِي يُوعَدُونَ يَوْمَ يَخْرُجُونَ. On the day when they يَخْرُجُونَ, they will come out from خَرَجَ. مِنَ الْأَجْدَاثِ, and al-ajdath is the grave, from jim, dal, tha. And al-jadath is basically one of the names of the grave. من الأجداث سراعا, rapidly, very in haste, from sin ra ain. كأنهم, as if they are, إلى نصب. النصب is a goal or objective, or whether it's called as their the idols that they used to worship besides Allah, also called the nusub. يوفضون, hastening, from wafad, from waw fa dad. And al-wafad or al-ifad is when someone is going fast and going in haste, or group of people when they're going so much in haste that they're not looking back. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save us from the punishment. ترهقهم ذلة, I'm sorry, the ترهقهم, and ترهقهم comes from first of all خشعة, from خشع. أبصارهم, their eyes is down. ترهقهم will cover them, from رهق. And سأرهقه صعودا, that means it's it's covering them. ترهقهم ذلة, humility is covering them. They're immersed into the humiliation from the lam. ذلك اليوم الذي كانوا يوعدون. This is the day where they used to be promised as the promise of Allah, or the promise is being repeated here in these verses because this is what led them to their own destruction when they turned away from the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the effect of that, of course, to the heart of the believers and the comfort that they would have to focus on the promise of Allah, to be patient and to seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's what makes it easy, by seeking help from Allah, by relying upon Allah. And if the iman is weak, it becomes a very difficult thing because a person, his heart is contaminated with the ways of the evil ones. So he become torn in between this way or that way. But when a person rely upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fully and to indulge into being busy with kalam Allah, with the speech of Allah, with the Quran, and being patient and seeking help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it easy for the person. طيب إن شاء الله. بارك الله فيكم. Inshallah, we'll continue inshallah ta'ala tomorrow. صلى الله وسلم وبارك على محمد وصحبه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.